week one of the fantasy football season, and the season's here already. Can't believe it, but it's go time now for fantasy owners and the season to start. So here's a few kickers I'd look to start this week. The first guy, Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. So last season, Daniel Carlson, he had a good season for the most part. And this Raider offense is going to be even more high-powered this year with Devonte Adams in the mix. And week one, it's going to be a classic AFC West shootout between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. So right now, I think Carlson in this one, he's good for at least a few extra points and a couple 30, 40-yarders in this one. And it's a good matchup on paper, indoor game, and it's going to be high scoring. So he's a no-brainer this week here to start at the kicking position. And I think this week he could finish within the top 5 at the kicker position. The next guy was staying in the same game, Dustin Hopkins of the Los Angeles Chargers. So we know the Chargers, they've had tons of kicking issues over the last 5-10 years easily here. But last season, after Hopkins got cut by the Commanders, he came over to Los Angeles, and he was a good kicking option for the Chargers. So just like I said with Daniel Carlson, this is going to be a shootout. It's an indoor game. I know Hopkins, he's a little shaky at 50-yarders plus, but everything else he's going to put through the uprights, and that's what he's going to do in this game. He's going to have a good season with this Charger team. They're going to be a high-scored offense, and in week one, it's going to be a high-scoring ball game. And obviously playing indoors is a plus here. So Dustin Hopkins this week, he's a kicker I have confidence in, and a kicker I'm going to start. The next guy's Brandon Mcmanus of the Denver Broncos. So Brandon Mcmanus, we know he's got one of the best boots in all of pro football, where this guy could kick it 50, 55 yards easily anywhere, anytime. And obviously the great altitude in Denver carries that ball as well. But week one, obviously, is a ball game at Seattle, where this one, I think the Broncos, they're going to put the screws to Seattle here. Russell Wilson in his return to Seattle. And funny enough, obviously, it's his first game as a Denver Bronco in the regular season here. So now going to Seattle, they're going to put up points in this one. I think Brandon McManus easily could have 8 to 10 fantasy points here in week one. A couple extra points, couple long balls in this one. And like I said, this Bronco offense is high-powered. As long as Judy and Sutton stay healthy, this team could put up points with anybody, I believe. Especially, it's going to be a wild season in that AFC West, where you're going to just have to keep going up and down the field and putting points up. In week one here at Seattle, I don't see them stopping this offense. And I see McManus getting a lot of opportunities in this ball game. And I like him as a kicker to start this week. The next guy's Robbie Gold of the San Francisco 49ers. So Robbie Gold, he's still going, and he's going strong here. In week one, he's got a good matchup at his former team, the Chicago Bears, is Robbie Gold. So the only thing here with Robbie Gold, obviously, he's been a guy that's not going to kick that long ball, but anywhere from 30 to 45 yards, he's money in the bank, and he's going to put it up and in, is Robbie Gold. So right here, Robbie Gold, week one, good matchup at the Bears. I think San Francisco is going to be living in the red zone for the majority of this ball game. If they can't finish drives, like I said, Gold's going to put it up and put it in this one, and he's going to show his former team, obviously, that he still got it, even though he hasn't been on the Bears probably now for 7 or 8 seasons here, is Robbie Gold. But anyway, he's been a solid fantasy kicker for many seasons. He's been a very consistent kicker, and he's a guy that still has it. So right here in week one, I like him as a starting option, and a guy who'll finish top 10 in points this week. And the fifth and final kicker I like this week's Matt Prater of the Arizona Cardinals. Another kicker that's going strong, and he's been in the league for over a decade easily now, is Prater. In week one, it's going to be a shootout versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And if they want to compete here and keep points on the board, is Arizona. They're going to need Prater, I think, in this one to kick a couple long ones and a couple clutch ones, because I could see this ball game come down to a field goal. Obviously, this Chief team is a good offense, but missing a guy like Tyreek Hill now in that offense after trading him to Miami, he's definitely going to hurt. They're going to need guys to step up. I know they signed Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez-Scantling, and Sky Moore. A lot of people are high on him this season, but still, this ball game is going to come down to the wire, and I think it's still going to be a shootout, but this Chief offense isn't going to be like it once was, where it's crazy up and down the field right away. But anyway, Matt Prater, he's going to get an opportunity in this one, and I think he's a guy that's going to have 8 to 10 fantasy points in week one. So that's a few kickers I look to start here in week one of the fantasy football season.